Alright, well, it's been a while since I made a video, but I finally got some time today. I figured I'd pump out some videos here. I've been making a few blog posts. They all go together too, that's what's amazing about it. I'm not sure if this video is going to be in regards to all of these blog posts, or I might just divide it up, but they're all connected to the same stuff that I keep talking about, how there's a Native American theme. I've also talked about how there's something to do with the area that I live in that seems to be connected to a lot of the events that are going on in the media right now. I live about an hour away from Omaha. I talked about Obama right after his final State of the Union. He went to Omaha, Nebraska, and then he went to Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And then it even connects to the town that I live in, as they murdered the last keeper of the sacred pole of the Omaha Indians. And there's a whole lot more to it. You know, it even connects back to the kid who got ate by the alligator in Orlando, who was from Elkhorn, Nebraska, which is basically western Omaha. But anyway, I'll leave a link in the description to a bunch of videos that if you're new to this channel or what I'm talking about, you need to go back and watch these videos to understand a little bit more of what I'm talking about. But the media has also been pounding us with this gay theme. You know, Pope Francis, whatever, he wants you to apologize to gay people, and last year gay marriage was legalized. Prince William was on the cover of the gay magazine right after the gay nightclub shooting. And I just made a video on the number 54 in regards to the gay agenda and also how it connected to the College World Series. But like I said, I'll leave a link to a bunch of different videos and whatnot you can check out. So as I was looking on CNN the other day, I saw this article: Miss Missouri makes history as first openly gay Miss America contestant. And I thought, here we go again, some more gay theme coding and whatnot. Also interesting, you know, just in regards to Miss America and whatnot, I've talked about how Steve Harvey messed up during the Miss Universe, and I talked about how I think that it's signifying a change in power. You know, Queen Elizabeth is going to die, there's going to be a new king. King Charles III, or her son Prince Charles, would become the king. I also talked about how maybe it was something to do with Pope Francis, because during the World Series, and also throughout all of the sporting events this past year, but at the time it was only the World Series that I had noticed it in. It seemed like it was almost like the royal family versus the Pope in the coding of the World Series, and the Pope ended up winning. So I thought maybe there was something to do with Pope Francis being in the shadows and then the royal family rising up, kind of thing. So anyway, moral of the story here: Miss America in Gematria equals 56 and 110. Miss Universe equals 56 and 173. Interesting, Miss Missouri equals 57 and 183. The reason 183 stands out so much is because I've been talking about it. The color orange in Gematria equals 183. There's been lots of orange coding in regards to recent events. The Orlando nightclub shooting was on Orange Street. The boy who got ate by the alligator was in Orange County. O.J. Simpson, orange, you know, just all kinds of orange stuff. But Queen Elizabeth in Gematria, Queen Elizabeth II equals 87 the small way, just like Clinton, you know, so Hillary Clinton in the news like crazy. But August 7th, 87, is 183 days after Queen Elizabeth's 64th anniversary of being the Queen. It's also 183 days before her 65th anniversary. And I've talked about all these train wrecks and how they've been using these Amtrak derailments like crazy to code other events. Last year, in 2015, there was a Philadelphia Amtrak derailment on May 12th. If you go from that date to 8/7, it's a span of 87 days. 8/7 also just so happens to be the 219th day, another number I have super talked about. Baton Rouge, Louisiana even equals 219. California equals 219. So anyway, if you go from the Philadelphia train wreck to Pope Francis's 79th birthday, it was a span of 219 days. If you go from 8/7 to his 3rd anniversary being Pope, also a span of 219 days. So these two numbers, 8/7 and 219, go hand in hand. Also 18/3 in England, it is the 78th day of the year in 2016. Easter fell on the 87th day of the year. Easter Sunday 152, Pennsylvania 152, 79 152. Pope Francis turned 79. I talked a lot about this in regards to the death of Merle Haggard and also the Amtrak derailment in Chester, Pennsylvania that happened on 4/3 this year. Also 8/7, August 7th, just so happens to leave 146 days until the end of the year. And I just talked about all these 146s. There's a ton more. This is just some I thought of off the top of my head, but I talked about how the College World Series was connected to the royal theme as well. You know, Coastal Carolina, we had North Carolina lose to Villanova, we had the Carolina Panthers lose, you had Clemson, who was from South Carolina, lose to Alabama. And the Carolinas are named after King Charles I, who was the king during the English Civil War. If Queen Elizabeth dies, Prince Charles will become King Charles III and whatnot. Anyway, he's the Prince of Wales, that equals 146, United Kingdom 146. These were the two main pitchers for Coastal Carolina, Alex Cunningham, Andrew Beckwith, 146. Their team, the Chanticleers, was even named after Geoffrey Chaucer, that equals 146. I even mentioned as a date, 14/6 was Donald Trump's birthday. Also, Pope Francis's 1189th day as Pope, matching the chapters in the King James Bible. So just wanted to show you 146, a super special number in regards to the royal theme and connected to Brexit and all kinds of stuff. Anyway, I know that 138 isn't the same as 183, but I've been seeing a lot of 138 and 183. Just interesting, you know, it's an anagram or whatever. It's the same three numbers. If you write out Queen Elizabeth's real name, Elizabeth Alexandra Mary Windsor, it equals 138. I wrote this in here too. This article about the Miss Missouri being the only gay contestant or whatever, openly gay. 7/1 is when the article came out. The House of Windsor was established on 7/17 of 1917. So interesting, 7/1/7/17. Pope Francis became the Pope on 3/1/3/13. So just interesting, just the 7/1 and then all these 7/1, 7/1 and whatnot. The word Catholic equals 71. There's other interesting 71s, Moses, the 10 Commandments. But gonna move on here. So I guess the reason I even wrote that in there is because if Queen Elizabeth dies, then it will no longer be the House of Windsor. It will become the House of Mountbatten Windsor. So the next person to be the king or whatever will most likely be a Mountbatten Windsor. So anyway, Donald Trump equals 138, just like Queen Elizabeth's real name. Brexit happened 138 days before the United States presidential election. Interesting too, the 138th prime number is 787. You know, so just interesting, like this date up here, the 78th day of the year. Also, you know, Queen Elizabeth equals 87, so the mirrors and whatnot. Anyway, so the other night I had a dream. For some strange reason, I had a dream that somebody had commented to me something about salt, thunder, and lightning. And there was some connection to Salt Lake City, Utah. And it was the strangest thing ever, you know. I woke up and saw this article right afterward or whatever. I got on and I saw this article. I looked up Salt Lake City and Gematria, just so happens to equal 138. So I thought that was pretty strange. Also, you know, Salt Lake City connected to the Mormons, which last fall, I talked a ton about the Mormons, and how it was connected to the Nebraska Cornhuskers who lost to BYU in the Hail Mary Pass and whatnot. And the Book of Mormon has 239 chapters. We were in the 239th year of the United States. All kinds of interesting stuff that connected to the Mormons. Also, once again, to the area that I live in. And I'll talk about that as we move along here. I found some interesting things and how it connects to the Native American theme that they've been showing me as of late. Also, oddly enough, I took my daughter to the swimming pool, and these like 12-year-old girls probably, two of them came up and asked me about my lip ring. And they were like, how long, where did you get it, whatever. And honestly, I was like, who knows, like, I've had it for 15 years, I can't even remember, blah, blah, blah. And my mom is the manager of the swimming pool, and she told me who they were related to, and it made me think of this kid. He's like their uncle, and I haven't seen this kid for years. I was like 5 years older than him. He used to hang out with us a tiny bit when I was in high school. He's one of my friends, was his cousin or whatever. Anyway, I also, when I first checked Facebook that day, his thing was on the side. It said, add this kid as your friend or whatever. And I was like, that is freaking weird. How in the world did Facebook know I was thinking about this kid, I mean, that's the type of weird stuff that I'm talking about. No possible way. I never, I don't get it. All I was doing was thinking about him. I had a dream that I can't even remember what the dream was about, but, he was in it or whatever. I get on Facebook. Facebook tells me, add this guy as a friend. And it wasn't even the real one. It was a whole different guy who I didn't know with the same name. I mean, that's pretty weird. So, sorry for even mentioning this stuff. I just like documenting it because, I can't explain it. So I want other people to know about it, But some other 138 stuff. So I had this dream about Salt Lake City and how it's some piece to the puzzle, and then I dream about this kid. Facebook tells me to add him, even though it's not even the real guy. It's just a different guy with the same name. Sioux Falls also equals 138. In my last video, I believe, I talked about Sioux Falls and how the principal was shot and it happened to be my aunt's brother and all kinds of stuff. Beauty pageant also equals 138. Back when Steve Harvey had messed up at the Miss Universe, well, I spelled Columbia wrong there. I just mixed up the letters, but back when Steve Harvey did that, they had an article just like 3 days before, hey, it's Columbia, not Columbia, which equals 138. And, he messed up and gave the crown to Miss Columbia and not Miss Philippines. And there was a whole lot of other Columbia right around that time. There was the Missouri University hunger strike, right? Where a lot of the Black Lives Matter stuff came back out and whatnot. And, the University of Missouri just so happens to be in Columbia, Missouri. So interesting, now we get a story about Miss Missouri being gay. But, so moving on here, so Olympic Games also equals 138. Quaker State equals 138. Pennsylvania is the Quaker State. Pennsylvania is just super coded up to, for whatever the reason, I don't know. I've been mentioning Philadelphia a whole lot, because that's where the Fresh Prince is from. Even, like I said, the Miss Universe pageant was all about the royal theme and whatnot. It was tons of 80 coded into it. King Charles III equals 80 the small way. Just interesting. Paris attacks equals 138. Andrew Jackson equals 138. He was the president 183 years ago in 1833. I just talked about him in regards to Steve King, who doesn't want Harriet Tubman on the $20 bill. Also interesting, Eduardo Perez equals 138. He's the guy in the College World Series that his voice sounded a lot like the Allstate guy. The Allstate guy also plays Serrano in the movie Major League. And then we had the Cleveland Indians go on a huge win streak. This is also the guy who plays the Allstate guy in Serrano and Major League, but one of his major roles in anything that he's known for is for this TV show called The 24, and he plays the senator who later becomes the president, David Palmer, who gets assassinated. Just interesting in regards to a lot of this coding that I've been talking about involves a political assassination. I've talked a lot about Obama, also possibly Donald Trump or the Pope. But these latest two shootings, the Alton Sterling shooting and then the Philandro Castile, they both tie into William McKinley, the third president to be assassinated and whatnot, which, like I said, I don't know if I'll talk about it in this video, but I'm going to make another video after this if I don't. Just wanted to point that out, that this guy played an assassinated president in a TV show called 24. 24 also a big number this year, super around the Super Bowl, even the Xavion Dobson, War Number 24, tons of 24 stuff. There's an X theme that's been going on. You have Malcolm X and much more, just tons of race war type of media. Anyway, this article then about the Miss Missouri comes out on July 1st. July 1st this year, the 183rd day of the year with 183 days left until the end of the year. I mean, remember, Miss Missouri equals 183. So, no doubt why they put this article out on 7/1, It's in connection to the 183. This article also comes out 94 years, 9 months, 23 days after the first Miss America pageant. Just interesting, 9/23 is a super big date in regards to Pope Francis's trip to the United States, among other things, Last year, the 239th year of the United States. In the article, they actually reported as 95 years, but it's actually only 94 in 9 months, 23 days. Also, it even says that Miss Missouri is from St. Louis, Missouri. If you write out St. Louis, Missouri, it equals 238. 183, when you write that out, it equals 238. In regards to, the Alton Sterling death, they made sure to mention in the article that Baton Rouge has a population of 238,000 people. And on the CNN article about the other shooting that was in Minnesota, they make sure to give you a 2-minute 38 clip of the video, even though it's like an 8-minute clip, the one that at least I saw on Facebook, but CNN has to shorten it down to 238, so must be something special about 238. Possibly the 183 equaling 238, I think, must be super significant. Other 183s that I found interesting that I had written in my notes: Nebraska ISIS attack 183, 804 equals 183. We had Flight 804 on May 19th. Also, if you write out King Charles III, King Charles III equals 804 in English gematria. Interesting, in Jewish gematria, he also equals 300, just like the letter X in Jewish gematria. So, I really think a lot of the X theming has a lot to do with him as well. Also, United States flag equals 183. Wells Fargo Center equals 183. That's where the Democratic National Convention is going to be held this year in Philadelphia. I've talked a lot about the one in Cleveland and how it connects to Prince and whatnot. The second day will be on 19/7. Prince equals 197. Charles equals 207, but if you write out 207, it also equals 197. LeBron equals 197. It's at Quicken Loans Arena where LeBron plays. Anyway, also in regards to that one, Donald Trump, back in August last year, there was a whole bunch of Batman killing stuff Donald Trump said he was Batman. The guy who dressed up like Batman and went around to hospitals died. Morgan Freeman's granddaughter died, and they showed him at the premiere of Batman. Batgirl died, all in like the same like span of 3 days. But Century Theater, where the Batman shooting happened, equals 183. So just something to think about. Batman equals 51. Donald Trump is exactly 15 years, 51 days older than Barack Obama. Baltimore, Maryland also equals 183. Just in regards to the Civil War and Freddie Gray. Freddie Gray was arrested on the day that the Civil War began in Charleston, and Freddie Gray died on the same day of the first death of the Civil War that just so happened to be in Baltimore, and Freddie Gray died in Baltimore. But actually, I'm going to stop this video right here. I'm going to make probably 3-4 more videos today. I just want to shorten it up, and I feel like some of this other information, it all goes together, but I want to start it off and maybe keep your attention, so, because what I'm going to start talking about here is the connection between the Mormons and the Native American or Indian theme that I keep seeing. So, whatever, I'm sorry this video was pretty long. I feel like there's a lot of good information in it. I'm just not really, I don't really know what it's all about. I'm just pointing out the information. So, there's definitely something with 183, 138. I'll probably just make a playlist with some of these in there so they all kind of make sense together. But, yeah, like I said, I'm going to stop it here, and then I'm going to make a whole other video about the Native American theme. Have a good one.